Hello and welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us today. As 2022 comes to a close, we take a look back at some of the stories that made headlines right here on Red Carpet. From sports to music and fashion, we've had a really busy year, and here are some of the stories to close of the year in style. And let's start off in New York City. The Big Apple welcomed us in style as it reopened for business following months of closures due to COVID-19. And the city is one of the most diverse places on the planet, and figures show that Africans make up at least 4% of New York's foreign-born population, with many contributing a piece of their culture to this ever-evolving melting pot. And yet, nothing quite captures the spirit and diversity of any community like food. In Brooklyn, New York is home to thousands of African immigrants. It's also home to Department of Culture, a restaurant founded and operated by cultural entrepreneur Ayo Balogun. We went to visit him.
When it was time to share food I grew up eating, food from Kwara State, I thought it was something that I have to do with great care. It wasn't a fusion. I wanted to serve it authentically. So there was a dish that we make which is very authentically Kwara. Like tuwo. So in the north or in most other parts of Nigeria, they have tuwo and gbegiri, and they have tuwo shinkafa, and we in Kwara, especially in Ilorin, we eat it with corn. They eat it with rice in most other part. But when I was making it here, we made it with corn. And when all Nigerians say, they're oh my God, this is from the village. I'm like, actually Kwara is not the village, but that's a different conversation. But again, the thought is to stay very authentic to what we do, because I know us Africans, we don't like to be painted with one stroke of brush and say Africa it's one state, not even a continent.
Ayo believes there is no better way to learn or connect with a new culture than through food. His restaurant provides culinary experiences from his home state of Kwara in north-central Nigeria.
We're right by the River Niger, and so we are one of the states that we're just below the north. So we have a lot of northern influences on our cuisine and even our culture, even though we are mostly perhaps southern people.
Located off Nostrand Avenue in the Bed-Stuy neighborhood of Brooklyn, Ayo serves his guests a 4-course meal while immersing them in a gastronomic experience that involves music and stories from Kwara. Ayo says that he takes seriously his duty as a custodian of his culture, crediting his grandmother for his cooking skills.
She is known to be one of the best cooks in the family, actually. Because when I was, I think there was a summer I spent with her, and she would send me to the market to go buy one little tomato, one little onion, this kind of this. It was very specific. It was kind of whatever we are calling farm to table right now, I was doing it at 12 with her. She would send me to go do this, go do that, and it was so lovely.
He says that it's not fair to paint food from the African continent in one broad brush. That, he argues, minimizes the authenticity of food from different communities in Africa.
People brush African food as one thing, African food. I don't know what they eat in South Africa. It's a big country. It's very famous. I don't know what they eat in South. I'm sure people eat there because, the people are surviving. I barely know what they eat in Cameroon. Actually, I don't know what they eat in Cameroon. It's right next door.
And let's go to Mozambique, home to Nectar Benedito, a Mozambican artist from the city of Chimoio in Manica province. Benedito, who paints with only his toes, is a living example of courage and artistic creativity. Benedito says that the COVID-19 pandemic inspired him to paint the cry of the world due to the panic caused by the pandemic, which also resulted in an increase of early marriages in the African country. Andre Batista has this report.
Nectar Benedito knows about coping with limitations. He was born with a condition that twisted his limbs and hampered the use of his hands and arms. Undeterred, the Mozambican man taught himself to draw and paint with his feet to better express himself. The artist says the COVID-19 pandemic is the biggest obstacle he has encountered in his 37 years. It inspired him to produce a series of works he calls The Cry of the World.
I've been painting what the world cried many times.
This series portrays women and girls for whom the COVID pandemic has been particularly hard. UNICEF has reported widespread increases in child marriage and cutbacks in girls' schooling, a concern also expressed by authorities in Mozambique's Manica province, where Benedito lives. His new works focus on females, some pregnant, all struggling.
When COVID started, people in rural areas didn't understand what it was. These women carried everything and left the village because they thought COVID-19 was a spell. That's why they appear on their backs.
One piece shows a beautiful girl setting out in the morning with a hoe and jar. She looks sad because she's missing school, Benedito said.
She must go to work in the field, something she didn't want to do, but she's forced to do so because she has married early.
Pandemic restrictions have prevented Benedito from exhibiting his work beyond his modest home in Chimoio town. He said he has sold paintings to his friends, but also depends on a monthly government food basket to make ends meet. He's not complaining.
For me, art is not about the money. Art is helping people to look at the world with different eyes.
When he was a child, Benedito's disabilities kept him from playing with others. He started drawing to relieve his loneliness. Now he envisions starting an art school for youngsters with or without disabilities.
I want to gather many children and teach art, but I won't be able to do it alone.
Benedito's goal is to help others create and see compassionately, and to leave that as part of his legacy. For Andre Baptista in Chimoio, Mozambique, Carol Gunsberg, VOA News.
Renata Torres is a comedian, actress, visual artist, as well as a teacher. She adds director to her impressive list of talents after releasing the film Pato Rosa. The film talks about how Angolan women are treated in society. Let's check it out.
Olha, o pastor ainda dias falou que Deus não...
Pato Rosa is a social critic to what kind of roles women are relegated to.
E é na verdade...
In fact, this is about the female condition, how women are seen socially and what roles are meant for them as female beings. So I put together different moments of a woman's life to reflect all of that. And in the background, we have a love story of Rosa and Luis. While the romance evolves, we see a series of events that women go through every day. And in fact, it's like a mirror. Some people can understand how us women perceive some situations that are normalized. Because you are a woman, you should behave in a certain way. Everyone thinks they can give their opinion on how you should act, how you should think. And people even think they can control your ambitions.
Para servir de espelho.
Renata Torres says this issue is not exclusive to Angola, and she says the reaction so far met her expectations.
I think that everyone that watches the film can identify with someone or see themselves in it.
Em algumas situações, se não todas.
Casa tão bonita, não é?
Assim, a minha...
My ambition is that people will start to be a little bit more conscious. I really wanted women to understand their strengths, the importance that they have in just being themselves. I wanted them to understand that respect is our right. From the moment we're born, we're humans, and we need respect as such. When women start embracing this role in society, many of these situations we sometimes find ourselves in won't take over and eventually won't happen again.
Pato Rosa has been shown at the Luanda movie theaters, and it's available on the Lusophone African streaming platform Chill.
In the year in which we just witnessed the historic World Cup, let's end the show with the story out of Accra, Ghana. Now, although the World Cup is about soccer and national pride for the fans and teams playing in the tournament, over the years, it has also been about the music. Now, each World Cup has produced iconic songs that have gone on to become anthems for millions of fans around the world. And this year, one of the most popular World Cup songs, titled Black Stars, a homage to Ghana's national team, was produced by Kweku Flick, an upcoming artist from Ghana who is making a name for himself in the country and across West Africa. I visited his studio in Accra and he talks to me about his music and the love for his favorite soccer team. Check it out.
And this is
that's the superstar.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. So what's your name? My name is Jackson. Jackson. Nice to meet you, bro. Yeah.
What are you doing in Accra?
Okay, so we are here purposely to promote the Black Star song. Yeah.
Originally from the city of Kumasi, Kweku is in Accra this week to make media appearances and perform for his fans in the capital. He talks to me about his young career and ambitions to continue in the footsteps of high-life legends and Afrobeat artists that inspired his journey.
Okay, so I grew up listening to Reggie Jemfi. He's a high-life artist, and also Nanam Pedu, a high-life artist. Amachidede, that Lumba, and when we come to these modern musicians, I have family. Wizkid is a big inspiration to me. Yeah, I grew up listening to Wizkid too.
He says that because of the different influences, he does not want to be boxed into a one-genre type artist.
I don't really put myself in a box. I'm an artist, I'm a musician, so I focus on every genre of music. But I have favorite genres like high-life music and also hip-hop. Because I think many genres were originated from the high-life music. And I think it's a proper Ghanaian sound that these Afrobeats were originated from. Okay, so I'm changing the game by blending the other genres to the high-life music. Because I have a song titled Iriase. If you listen to Iriase, it's a blend of high-life, a hip-hop, drill, and different genres in one song. So I think that's how I'm also changing the game.
Kweku says that even though he's originally from Kumasi and that remains his musical base, technology and specifically social media has allowed him to reach fans all over the world.
People will know you well, but I think right now the youth and everyone is on social media, so it's easy for you to be well known. This music thing is a broad thing, it's a journey, and nobody knows tomorrow. I'm just hoping for the best, and I'm just working as a young artist. I'm just focusing, no pressure. I have different people supporting from elsewhere, because anytime I drop a different song or a new song, I got different followers, like grown up, the kids, the youth, and everyone. So I think it's a good growth for me. Yeah.
And with that, we come to the end of our show today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name is Jackson Funganyi. For more entertainment news, remember to check us out at voaafrica.com. We are also on all social media platforms, from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube, where you can watch our videos. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye everyone.